Well, hey, Season 2 is over, so let's kick things off with the conditions of this final race, those being that it was inevitable. In order for me or Zhodkiev to win the entire thing, we would have had to come first, Zhodkiev would have had to do the same, but he needed the fastest lap on top of that, and we both would have needed Wes to come 14th or 15th. And well, considering only 12 drivers showed up, there wasn't really a great deal we could do to stop him. On top of that, he went out with a bang, scoring one last victory to wrap up what has been a dominant season. Wes has by far been the most consistent driver over the course of the 8 races, and when it's come to him versus the open road, he's known exactly how to make the most of that too, with some scorching hot laps. Congratulations Wes 7 for making the rest of us feel old and out of shape. Last season I know he felt like he didn't get to showcase his true abilities. He only picked up one win, I believe, on the Great Hills. He finished 4th overall and was only 10 points off finishing 2nd, so he didn't quite make it last season. And even this season, he would play down his early victories very modestly and accredit them to luck. Every time after each race, he would just message me, "I just got lucky." But in my not so humble opinion, you make your own luck, and you've been the one to capitalise on every opportunity thrown your way, which is becoming of a very worthy King of the Mountain. So congratulations once more to Wes 7. This race, Manny also had a great drive after getting caught up in the huge incident at the start, which saw Wes and Murphos get a relatively free pass up the order as well. Eventually Murphos was battling for first, but was then summoned away IRL, and he had to forfeit the race. So in the end, I didn't give any points to any of the absentees because it seemed rather pointless. MC West wrapped up the top 3 with an easy drive after being one of the first to pit. No promotions or relegations with it being the final race of the season, but hopefully that didn't dampen Charles the King's spirits as he drove his ProGen T20 to his first ever Children of the Mountain victory over Meh Ryan, who as we all know is always a threat no matter which division he's in. In the middle of the table you can see the 3 stars adjacent to G-Gamer's, Dylan's and Sam Sosa's names. That's because they all had reserves driving for them, and the fact that these reserves were probably scarcely prepared could have contributed to why V was able to pull off quite a monumental comeback drive. He was already down in 11th when Headshot dropped a lamppost right in his path. The ambulances. Calm, just relax. Headshot dropped a lamppost right in front of Watty's laggy screen, flipping him up and over, and anybody would have thought that he'd have been getting relegated in an ordinary race, but not Watty. Whereas Headshot went on to lose 2 positions from that juncture, Watty closed the gap first to him, and then to the entire division, minus the top 3. No doubt he would have been in contention for that win, without such a crash holding him back at the start. I'm not quite sure how Jack, Jakey and BC fell behind most of the reserve drivers. They must have been having an off day, particularly BC Eagles guy, ever since making it to Division 1, up to which point he'd been winning back-to-back races. It's been somewhat of a downward spiral for BC. Still kicking about in Division 2 though. Lastly, I believe Pepper's disconnected, so that's why we see him down in 13th, ahead of the 2 no-shows. Now, I don't know a great deal about Division 3, other than the lineup looked like it would provide us with another amazing race, much like most of these guys had in Division 4 on World Premiere. But the RE7B created such a skill gap amongst the field that it was nothing at all like that. Supply GTA won this race by a country mile, and it was his first ever victory in Children of the Mountain, so congratulations to him. But it was surprising because J Beast was easily the fastest guy on track, just couldn't keep it out of the barriers, and unfortunately out of Mo Youngster on the final corner, which is why he landed himself a 10-second penalty after a painfully unproductive back and forth argument between the two. I hope that's been put to rest now. The thing is, J Beast was actually trying to give the position back, but then, shooting out of the final chicane like a rocket, comes Drubert to throw a spanner in the works. J Beast didn't want to give the Drubert the position, so he tried to cut it as finely as he could at the line, but ended up finishing too early, with a few hundredths separating the 3 of them. As a result, J Beast ended up in 4th, and Drubert gets a cheeky nudge up to the podium positions. I suppose he'll be very pleased with that. Like I said, I don't know much about the rest, but with it being the RE7B, I just envision a montage of dads trying to operate their new high-tech smartphone. Oh, what's it doing now? I didn't want to press that! Yeah. So, on to Division 4. After being unceremoniously ejected from the World Premiere Stadium a few weeks ago, Anna Draps was back and with a point to prove. And apart from a crash which got Machimp's hopes up momentarily, he pretty much proved it. Now, this guy Machimp, we've got our second Aussie in the league, Watty being the first, and a while ago he wrote on one of my videos that I'd inspired him, but I didn't quite know how much. Please search on YouTube Machimp, like the Pokemon Machamp, but with an I. I'll link his channel in the description actually. Go check his commentaries out, because they're well put together. The action is a bit laggy, of course, he's from Australia. Maybe even a bit too laggy to withstand contact racing, but that's something to address next season. The point is, I watched Race 7 and Race 8, and I enjoyed hearing someone else give, a rounded review of what's going on. He did really well to come back actually, passing QCOD as he was leaving the pit lane, I believe. Whitey started well, but slowly started to sink into the clutches of Paganois, who crashed, so then it was into the clutches of Nefarious, whose name sounds even more menacing. Don't know how much practice Matt, Zane and Josh did, but they've all come fresh off the waiting list and proven that they belong amongst the talent of Division 4. Now, I'll take this opportunity to preface the upcoming Season 3 grid reveals with the fact that positioning well in this race does not guarantee a start in one of the 4 divisions, because the grids, just like this season, were formed based on overall points and attendance, with the exception of Murphos, who will be getting fast-tracked to Division 1 for the 2 strong performances he's put on in the past. Let's take a quick glance at the waiting list race results. Congratulations to L. Ryan Gibb for your first win in your first appearance in this race. Likewise to NOJ777. I can't remember if this is your first or second race this season, but either way, these two were well away from the other drivers, which included former Division 3 driver Thol and former Division 2 drivers Roman and Shadyfruit. So in that respect, even Voltax has come out of nowhere and performed well here. You never know which names are going to crop up out of the woodwork, and it's always exciting to see how high they'll be able to climb. Right then, this is it. Are you ready to take a look at the final standings to cap off Season 2 of Children of the Mountain? We all know AWES 7 has walked away with the win, but who's come out in second once again? It was me again! Yeah! Oh, well, I'll take it. I'll take the best overall performer across the 2 seasons. I'm just throwing ideas out there, but if that's what you really want to give me, I'll definitely take it. One of the standout stars here, though, has to be Manny, aka YOLO. He's messaged me privately a couple of times. Oh, privately. And I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this. Just basically saying how much he's enjoyed this competition and how it's basically revitalised his love for GTA 5 racing. And well, it's certainly true that when you thoroughly enjoy something, you put a lot of effort into it, and Manny's had his fair share of lag-related issues, being a bit further away from the host than most of the other drivers in Division 1 usually are. But after bobbing up and down between 4th and 8th all season, he's ultimately walked away with this season's bronze medal, so that's definitely worthy of congratulation as well. And I believe at this time we say goodbye to Manny because he can't make the race times for next season. So Manny, if that is the case, it's been a pleasure racing you, an exemplary member of the non-contact side of GTA racing, stepping into a seriously competitive contact environment and performing incredibly well. Now, Jodkiev, what a shame you stepped off the gas for the last race, because Manny's only come and swooped in and stolen 3rd place away from you, and he's earned every point to do that. Just a bit of a lazy drive from Jodkiev in the last race. He didn't do particularly well in his next race either. He had 2 races to prepare for on that day, and he was crashing all over the place in the other one as well, as was Murphos, so it was a bit of a sloppy day for the pair of those two actually. Jodkiev did go on to win his second race outside of Children of the Mountain. I think it was part of the Los Santos Endurance Championship, something like that. Nevertheless, he's fallen short here. However, I would like to think that Season 3 will be the untold story of Jodkiev versus Murphos, with AWES and myself loitering in the wings, but that remains to be seen. Uchia should have definitely been up there, but ever since he flipped the lid on Hooker International, that 5th bloody race, things just haven't gone his way. He did get that Sandy Shores win in Division 2, but he could have been even higher with a tougher mental fortitude, I'd like to say. After all those mid-season wins, BC Eagles guy gives up a great position to consistent performer MC West, rarely outside Division 1, won as soon as he dropped to Division 2. Great drive from the pair of those guys, all the way through the season. MC West and BC Eagles guys are certainly Division 1 contenders. Mike BWFC also thrived in the absence of his seasoned rivals Sean L, Macy and Meh Ryan. All those guys from Sweat Racing, not Macy but the other guys, Picano included. You cheers back on top, and Mike, at least in our circles, is our resident number 2. Oracle has been a late bloomer, climbing several positions in the last 2 races, while Charles's huge Division 2 win ensures that he will receive a Division 1 start next season. Frinker held on to 16th after pulling out of competitive racing for a while. He was already so high on the board that he only fell to the very top of the second column when he left. It's interesting that just below him is Crazy Chris 98 because they've probably done the same number of races or thereabouts. Around this region you've got all the guys who continually fluctuate between D1 and D2, Steak, Benji, Peppers, Sosa, Gaming, G-Gamer, and only in the very last race, Jamie LFC. Those guys are all competitive on any day of the week. Steak Sauce and Dr. Peppers proved that when they ran away with a 1-2 on the Green Mile in race 6. These guys are what make the bulk of the competition here at Children of the Mountain, and without them, this series wouldn't be half as enjoyable as it is. But as it is, G-Gamer is on his way out. It doesn't look like we'll be seeing Frinker or Crazy Chris back either, so that's going to open up the door to Division 1 to guys who have always been on the cusp of breaking in, that being Jay Beast, 80 Horse, Dylan, maybe even Celtic if he manages to do a race without binning it. Headshot has a unique story. I mean, judging by his videos, he's moved on to producing his own chill step music, which is awesome. But you can just tell that as soon as you dedicate your time to something else, your racing performance begins to slip, and we've seen the gradual decline of Headshot in Season 2, after he finished 3rd in Season 1, ahead of none other than Wes 7. That wraps up my coverage of page 1. Please pause the video if you want to peruse the rest of the table and look for how you've done over the course of the league. I can finally now reveal the second page, which I've always had but have never shown. At least I don't think I have. I'm not actually sure now. Nevertheless, 103 people got their name on the board this season, and for me, that's just awesome. That's just mind-blowing. That's really cool. 103 different people took part in this 8-race seasonal YouTube organised thing that I've got going on here, and we keep a tight ship, don't we? It seems to somehow flow as smoothly as a river, and I've got to thank everyone for making this just the easiest experience to host, really. There are a few petty arguments that I've got to waste quite a lot of time on every now and then, but aside from that, everything just runs itself. Like, I don't even need to be here anymore. I feel like I could just step out and everything would just operate as it is. Well, I don't know about that actually. I saw what happened in that team racing playlist the other night. Now, forget I said that. But keep your eyes peeled for information on Season 3, probably coming to this channel at some point this week. Hopefully I'll get the track selection and whatnot up. Until then, this has been Children of the Mountain Season 2.